This January has been one of the coldest months ever in our region, and it certainly seemed to put the real estate market on ice. I'm Jed Williams with Hagan Realty, and if you're living or looking in Germantown, there is no better place to keep up with what's going down in real estate than right here. Milestone had updates on 4 properties this month, including 1 price change, 1 new contract, 1 closing, and 1 failed listing. That's a pretty short list, but it's an interesting one, so let's get moving. We'll start off with 21307 China Astor Court, a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom, 2,000 square foot colonial. Now, it listed back in July, priced at $745,000 before dropping to $710,000 in September. They hung in there all the way till January 13th, when they threw in the towel after 162 days on market. 12212 Milestone Manor Lane is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,500 square foot colonial that listed for $770,000 back in November. Now, they went under contract 68 days later and closed on January 16th for $760,000, paying $5,000 towards the buyer's closing costs. That's $15,000 less than their list price. 12222 Milestone Manor Lane is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2,400 square foot colonial that listed in November for $739,000. They had a failed contract in December, but then went back under contract on New Year's Eve. They should be closing in February, assuming this contract holds. 12125 Songbird Lane is a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2,500 square foot colonial that listed for $765,000 back in September and had 12. That is right, 12. I don't even have enough fingers for this. 12 price changes during their 140 days on market, dropping by a total of $50,000 before finally going under contract on January 30th. Now let's shift to a wider look at the Germantown market. The headline this month is that prices continued their downward trend. Year-over-year prices turned negative back in October, but they accelerated that decline to 1.8% in January, and they are off 2.1% from their peak last February. I think there's more to go here, but I do see the pace of decline slowing in the future. New listings were also down, almost 20% below last January, with just 53 new listings hitting the market in Germantown, which really isn't surprising with the snow. But what is surprising is that contracts were actually up by almost 30%, with 54 new contracts being signed this month. Closings were also up, though to a lesser degree, but closings are a lagging indicator, so that really does say more about December than it does about January. Now, despite the increased contract activity, the listing failure rate remains quite high, with 25.8% of listings giving up instead of selling. Now, that might have a lot to do with the time on market. Sellers, and sadly the vast majority of agents, had gotten really used to properties selling in their first week on market, and so they don't know what to do when the average home is now taking 47 days to go under contract. Which explains why the average home that does sell is getting 3% less than its listing price. As for mortgages, the average 30-year fixed-rate loan flirted with 6% mid-month, but ended the month at 6.16%. Now, if these stats are concerning to you, well, they should be. Homes are still selling, but the ones that didn't prepare and position themselves well for this market have gotten punished. That's why Hagan Realty has its Placelift program, where home sellers can get up to $50,000 to prepare their home for market and not pay till closing. It's just one of many reasons why Hagan Realty has been beating the market on every single metric. So remember, if you or one of your friends or neighbors are looking to buy or sell, give me and my team a call. I'm Jed Williams with Hagan Realty, and Milestone, you'll be moved.